Hello everybody, it's Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. Today we're going to talk about the Copper Dragon, or as it says in the books, Draco Stabuli. I don't know what the heck that's really supposed to mean, but we're going to talk about the Copper Dragon. And once again, this is a continuation of the series that we've been doing on dragons from the original Monster Manual as used with the original Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Different days, obviously. Only 12 dragons. This Copper Dragon happens to be one of the good guys. His alignment is good, but tends to be a rather selfish good. Now, 7 to 9 hit dice, fairly standard for a dragon. It's uncommon to rare, so you can't run across them. They tend to live in arid, rocky regions, so maybe like the mountains at the edge of a desert or something along those lines. And they also do not dwell in other than caverns. You're only going to find these in a cavern. You're not going to find them in an abandoned castle or something like that. Now, if your particular dungeon master has decided that it lives in an underground wherever, or underwater city, volcano, whatever, that's up to them. But per what's in the book, that's what they say. Now, like I said, only 7 to 9 hit dice. They do the typical claw bite. They also do a maximum, I think, of 20 points of damage on the bite, and I don't really know why they were this annoying. I guess statistically it allows for more damage to be done, but instead of being something like 2d10, in this particular case, it's 5d4. Still get 20 points maximum, but they were kind of crazy back in the early days, especially because so much of the statistics were based on the knowledge that the creators brought to the game from the miniatures gaming world. Not just miniatures, but also large-scale epic military games, whether they were Napoleonic or World War I or World War II. So the statistics sometimes are a little bit much, really, for what you need in the game, and the degree of variation is also greater than it needs to be. I'm not really sure what the point was to dice it up that way. Ha ha ha. So, in any case, these creatures also have the ability to potentially cast spells. I believe it's 45% of them can speak, 40% have spell use ability, and like 40% of them are caught sleeping. The spell use ability is a little bit better than some of the other dragons for the 8 ages of the dragon. So, at the maximum would be an ancient old copper dragon. A very young copper dragon would get 1 first level spell. What happens is they get 1 first level spell for each of the first 3 ages. Then they get 1 second level spell for each of the next 3 ages. And the last 2 get a 3rd level spell. It at least allows them to have some more ability to do a few more things than some of the other dragons do. Now, once again, this is a good dragon, but it's very much a selfish good dragon. And if you're trying to negotiate with it or to have it assist you in a quest, this is definitely one where it's going to be what's in it for me. If it's something that you're trying to do for altruistic reasons, you're probably less likely to succeed. It's important to understand that. This dragon expects to be rewarded in proportion to whatever the task is that you're doing. It's not going to do, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Tanstaffel, very important. So like all other dragons, it has 1 or more, in this case more, breath weapons. and the damage that they potentially can do if they do hit points of damage is equal to the hit points of the dragon. That's consistent throughout. And in this particular case, it has a spitting acid attack, much like a black dragon, in fact, pretty much identical to a black dragon. But it also has the ability to puff out a cloud of vapor or gas that will slow the opponents that are trying to do something nasty to it. That's kind of handy. And that can make the use of this dragon's spells a lot more effective. It's a pretty interesting ability that this dragon has that pretty much the others don't. So, something to keep in mind if you're a DM, that if you play this copper dragon right, it can be a little bit of a surprise for your players and be more of a challenge for their characters. Now, once again, not an endless amount of hit dice, and as a opponent, they're not somebody that can't be overcome, but mostly, from a dwarf's perspective, we're good guys. We're going to try and work with this guy. We just understand that he needs to get something out of it in order to do this. And getting something out of it can't be chump change. It has to be something serious. So greedy and good, well, dwarves can identify with that. So at least from a dwarvish perspective, I think they're fairly straightforward to work with. We understand them. They pretty much understand us. We've had some very successful missions or endeavors, quests that we've performed with copper dragons over the years, and we find them one of the easier ones to get along with. Not everybody's going to see them the same way as we do. But who cares? I mean, we're dwarves. We're not judgmental. Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind. So, in talking with my fellow Hornhelm brethren, both on the DM side and on the player side, like I said, from a dwarf's perspective, these are pretty cool creatures. So from a player standpoint, they rank these as about a straight 5 in terms of working. If you've had to find a way to work with them, they weren't that tough to do. And as an opponent, they said, well, we've never fought one, so we don't really know. Okay, I guess that's pretty fair. I wouldn't expect them to perform a ton differently if they're fighting against us as opposed to fighting for us, except I wouldn't like that slow part. That would be kind of bad. But apparently that's not an issue. Now, from a DM's perspective, if I'm using these, I think that as a being able to use and do things, I actually find these to be around a 6 to 6.5, maybe even a 7 sometimes. Depends on the mix of spells they get and whether you have a ancient old copper dragon. Those are pretty effective. Even though they don't have the most hit points, they're still capable of doing quite a bit. And that ability to cast a couple of 3rd level spells and that slow ability, that's come in pretty handy. So I like the copper dragon. I think you'll find that most dwarves do. Other people, maybe not so much. I don't know. It depends on if you're evil. I'm pretty sure orcs don't like them, or goblins. And that really, really breaks my heart, let me tell you. So that's our view on the copper dragon. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you did, please leave us a like, consider subscribing, share with your friends, leave us a comment. Whatever you do, come back and see us again in the future. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!